felt like I had a pretty typical childhood. Grew up in northwest Iowa in a small town, typical of northwest Iowa small town kids. I wanted desperately to get out. I couldn't wait to get away, make a name for myself, make some money, buy some toys, live a great life, right? Went on to college, got great internships, did all the things I was supposed to do, got good grades, fueled by the idea that someday I was going to have the best stock portfolio, newest cars, all those great things. Got out of school, went and got the first jobs, Fortune 500s. They weren't for me. They can be for a lot of people. I'll maybe mention that a little bit more in a little bit. They weren't for me. I didn't find the work meaningful, except for the intellectual stimulation of it, I suppose. And pretty quickly, I again felt trapped. I wanted to get out. But this time, where to? There was no college to escape to or new jobs to get. Where do I go now if this isn't me? Very shortly after I started coming to this realization, I found myself on the street in Iowa City, punched in the gut, alone, breathless, because I had just scored literally hundreds of points below what I was supposed to score on the GMAT score, the GMAT exam. Anybody know the GMAT exam? That's the big test to get into business school that everybody goes by. And I bombed it, according to my expectations at least. Wow, where am I going? This is not the path I'd planned on at this point in life. Fortunately, my dad's best friend Tom, this is Tom with his newest grandbaby, gave me a call. And he said, Todd, I want you to be the co-director of this youth retreat called Chrysalis. Well, I knew about this thing, and I was a little apprehensive because I wasn't in a good place. Where was I to be leading youth? Was my faith in a place where I should be talking to youth about their phase at this point in my life? But I adore Tom. He's my dad's best friend. I agreed. I was going to do it. So Chrysalis is pretty in-depth. You go to meetings for weeks to get ready for this thing. So I started going to these meetings. You practice talks, and you do all sorts of activities for team building and all that. And I immediately realized that this was a place with energy. These people were excited to serve these young people that were going to come to this retreat. Tom and his friends had something figured out, and I needed to know what it was. Weekend before the retreat happens, Tom and I decide we're going to go to lunch, talk a little bit. He took me to the fine dining establishment known as Wendy's. He and my dad really enjoy their iced tea. And, we're talking, hey, what do you want to do? What's your next steps? All that stuff you talk about. And I said, Tom, I just bombed this test. I'm off the rails. I thought I was going to get an MBA, maybe a PhD, but now what? And he said, Todd, do not worry about that test. And he started asking me things like, who do you really want to be? What do you enjoy? What's meaningful to you? Why were you put on this earth? We're talking about all this good stuff. And I didn't realize it at the time. What Tom was helping me do was discern my values. So Tom got me on track. He gave me that kick in the pants I needed at that point in time. Shortly thereafter, greatly improved GMAT score followed. Perseverance, a word I'm going to come back to in a little bit. I got into the PhD program I wanted to ultimately. But more importantly, what Tom did for me was pull me out of my self-involved, indulgent, materialistic bubble. And he showed me a different way to see. He showed me there was people all around me who could be mentors and help me be on the right track. Most importantly, he helped me see my grandfather. Lyle Loggy, great guy. Try not to cry for too long right now. Passed away a couple years ago. And Grandpa's an amazing man. About this time, he was retired. He had time to spend, so I'd sit down with him as regularly as possible and chat with him. And one of those first times, I'll never forget this conversation that's become really formative. So he says to me, "Hey, smart guy," this is how he talked to me all the time. "Hey, smart guy, you're going to business school. You're supposed to know all this stuff. Why don't you explain to me why people think they're going to be happy buying all these big houses?" I didn't know. I never thought about it. It's just what you do, right? That's not an acceptable answer to my grandfather. You don't do anything without a reason. Scratched my head, walked away, stored in the mental bank. Shortly thereafter, I'm back talking with him again. This time, I'm coming with a question. I'm going to pin him down a little bit. And I always heard from my aunts and my mom, your grandpa is a really smart guy, and he was going to go get an engineering degree right out of high school, but his older brother, was killed in World War II. So he had to stay on the farm and, take care of the farm with his father. So I said, "Grandpa, once the farm settled down, why didn't you go get that engineering degree?" Looked at me. I think I did pretty well. I don't think I needed that degree. Started a couple of businesses that did good things for farmers, ran a successful farm of my own. I took care of our family, and he did. He took care of us in an amazing way. Furthermore, he took care of his community. When the tiny little town in central Iowa he lived in needed something, Lyle Loggy was there. He also was able to pursue his passion projects and hobbies. The one I'm most proud of is that he went and dug wells in Central America. He lived a great life. He lived a life of meaning and purpose by his own design. He was satisfied. I took note, but I wasn't there yet. Fast forward, we're doing a lot of fast forward in these talks today. Fast forward a few years, earned that PhD, blessed with a job at an amazing university, this one, doing research I cared about, teaching amazing students, as you will see throughout the day and already have. I bought the big house my grandfather warned me against. I was living a good life by most any standard. But I still wasn't satisfied. So a guy sitting in this room right now one day comes and taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, congratulations, you earned tenure," right? Every young academic's dream. Shortly thereafter, I head to the mountains of Colorado, spending some time with Aunt Kay and Uncle Ron. And about that time, I've been reading a lot about this concept called minimalism. Anybody check this out? Everybody watch the movie on Netflix yet? I actually haven't watched the movie on Netflix yet. I was reading about it before that, and I've heard it's good, though. And minimalism is all about cutting away the clutter from our lives that does not add value. Boom, that hit me right where I was at. So, in the mountains, with the people I love, wife, kids, aunts, uncles, in God's creation, I said, I've got to organize my life around this new way of thinking. I'm going to build an existence where I focus on the things that provide me meaning and those I love great value. That's what I'm going to do. We can all do this. You don't have to be this amazing entrepreneur. We just have to choose. So I began thinking about it, and I thought, I bet other people are in the same place I'm at. Hence the Minimalist Manager, this blog I started. Minimalist management is all about helping people find meaning, self-determination, and purpose in their life so they can strive. We do this for ourselves. We should do this for our teams. We should do this for our workplaces. We should do this for our organizations. We do this by reflecting on the things, people, and activities that provide us with meaning so that we can determine our purpose and then construct an environment where we can live out that purpose. We prune away the things and activities that are not purpose-driven. We can all do this, and I would argue it's our obligation to do this for ourselves and those we love. So, is this some kooky idea by a guy who had too much time on his hands? Read too many blogs? No. This matters. Turns out this guy named Aristotle studied this stuff, thought about this stuff, way back when. This is ancient wisdom. Aristotle argued that when we live intentionally, purposefully, and for meaning, that we will live great lives. Subsequently, scholars for years have studied this rigorously and with a lot of data. Mountains of papers have supported the fact that people's motivation and life satisfaction are related to living in this way. We also have greater resilience in the face of obstacles and are more likely to remain satisfied when bad things happen in our lives when we're living purposefully. We tend to have better relationships with those we love and those we work with. We tend to have more fulfilling retirements when we are living purposefully in retirement, and consequently, I might argue, we tend to live longer. In studies of people who live in what are called blue zones, which are areas where people disproportionately live past the age of 100, they found that there were common themes of all these different blue zones. You guessed it, one of these common themes is purposeful living. Subsequent studies showed that purpose actually improves longevity across all adulthood. And then finally, and very importantly for the work that I do, a 10-year longitudinal study of organizations showed that organizations that were purpose and values-driven outperformed those that were not on various business outcomes. This stuff matters. At this point, I hope you're thinking, there's only one choice here. I have to find my purpose. But how? Here are 3 tools that I found useful. As you can see, they all interrelate, they all build on each other. The first is a personal strategic plan. That then informs our Bill of Rights for work and beyond. And then we use what I'm calling the succinct sabbatical to reflect, check in, and make alterations. So the personal strategic plan starts with us determining our values. Lots of different ways to do this. I don't in any way pretend to have the corner on the market for good ideas here, but 3 questions I like, one that I'm sure you've all heard are, what do I want people to say about me when I die? A second is, what do I truly love? And a third is, who do I truly love? Because I think those things will uncover our true values. Once we know our values, we can move on to our strengths. You can take great assessments for this. But I think, just as importantly, is that we go to people we value, respect, and trust, and we ask them. We ask them what our strengths and our weaknesses are. And at that point, we can then start to think about, what is our purpose? What am I put here to do? What do I exist to do? And that's what you might ask is, what do I exist to do, and who do I exist to do it for? That'll help us uncover our purpose. Then we can move into our strategy. Once we know who we are and what we need to do, we determine a strategy to get us there. Within the strategy, we need our objective. That's our longer-term goal for what we want to do in order to reach our purpose. Then we think about, what's our scope? Where are we going to do this? At work, at home, not-for-profits, in our family? And then finally, what is our unique differentiator where we add value? And I assure each and every one of you that you have a way to add value. Finally, we determine those shorter-term goals that will help us meet that objective. The next tool is our Bill of Rights. This is a list of statements or rules that will help us work toward purpose. This is especially useful when we work in teams because it helps us understand how we're going to relate to each other. One right I have that I really value is that everyone deserves to have clarity of task and purpose of work. I think every team should have that right. So you should reflect and discern your own Bill of Rights for your operating context, your life context. Third is the succinct sabbatical. Plan times to step away, reflect on meaning and progress, celebrate successes, and determine the adjustments we need to move forward intentionally. These tools work together. This isn't easy. Tools can help, mentors can help. Now, the choice is yours. This is about you. Are you going to choose your purpose based on what's meaningful, or will you be sucked into the culture of materialism and self-centeredness? Will you step forward and help the people you love find meaning and purpose, or will you let them struggle? We can all do this, whether it's your Fortune 500 context, where you're helping those around you, or it's your not-for-profit. You can do this. I was really fortunate to have amazing mentors in my life. Tom, my grandfather, and countless others, including my parents. Who are the ordinary people in your life that can help you get on the right track, that will step forward and kick you in the pants to get you where you need to go? I was fortunate. I could have gone down a different path for much longer, where I was chasing things without meaning. But I was fortunate. I strive daily to help people grow into their God-given potential. I don't do it well every day. I'm not successful every day. But that is my purpose, and it is meaningful. What is your purpose? God bless.